Are arrangements just for big worship bands? And that's the question we want to explore today. Hi, I'm Dan Loch with The Worshiping Songwriter, where we are writing songs to glorify God and helping others do the same. I already started a theology and songwriting series, and for that one, I scripted the entire video. I wanted to experiment a little bit with this more casual style. I don't have any notes. Just wanted to record some quick tips for songwriting and arranging. Now I'm going to be talking from a worship pastor's perspective. So if you're here and you're not in a church context, that's great. You can probably still learn something, but I'm going to be talking about it from the worship leader's perspective, writing songs from the church and arranging for the church, because I think that this is actually a really important thing and it's a really important distinction. So if you like this more casual style where I'm just kind of talking off the top of my head, let me know in the comments, or if you want me to go back to scripting, I could do that too. Oops, I forgot to turn off the air conditioner or the heater. You don't ever know which one you're going to need this time near Philadelphia. So, as I said, more casual style. Let me know if you like it down in the comments. Arranging and songwriting. What's the difference? What do we need? Because a lot of times when I'm working with songwriting students, they instantly jump to, ooh, this would sound great with this instrument. Or, man, I got to write this part for it. Or I got to get some harmony singers in here. And that's going to be an essential part of a song. And I go, no. Hold up. That's part of the arrangement. When we're working with songwriting, we want to get a melody, we want to get lyrics, and we want a rough idea of the form. Although we're not going to get the final detailed form. Arranging is when you take that melody and those lyrics and you put it into a polished package that is ready to be presented to people. Woo, alliteration, I like it. So, arranging is taking the song and putting it into this package for people to listen to. And that's when we get into like all these details of what instrument is playing when. What instrumental breaks do we have? How long is the song going to be? How many times do we repeat the chorus at the end of a song? How many times do we repeat the chorus and the bridge and then the chorus and the bridge and the chorus and the bridge? This is a joke about modern worship music. Haha. So those are arranging questions. And what I found, I was actually just down in Jacksonville for the Southern Baptist Church Music Conference. Had a great time, heard some wonderful music, talked with some wonderful people, and had one interesting conversation about arranging. It was this worship leader only had a guitar and a keyboard in her worship band. And when I talked about the arrangement, she's like, oh, when do you think we're going to be ready for that? And I'm like, right now. Because the arrangement of the song is the thing that really separates it from everything else. Arrangement is a little bit like liturgy. And some people go, well, what's liturgy? Liturgy is just the order you do things in. When you go to order food from a drive-thru, you might have your own liturgy. For me, I don't like using the drive-thru anymore. I like using the app to order the food. So I go onto the app, I order what I want in the app, I hit submit, I drive to wherever I'm going to go eat, I hop in line and I say, hey, mobile order for Dan. And they go, next window, please. And then I drive up to the next window and they go, here's your bag. And I go, thank you. And that is my ordering food liturgy. It's just the order I do it in. Every church service in every church has a liturgy. It's just some liturgies are more intentional than others. Some liturgies are very rigid and they have to follow the same thing every Sunday. Some liturgies are very loose and they vary from week to week. Some liturgies just vary in the middle of a service. You never know where it's going to go. The pastor might change it on the fly. It depends on what church you're in, what congregation you have, you know? But what I want you to zoom in on is that they have varying levels of intention. And where things start to fall apart is if someone has a liturgy that is unintentional. They may be communicating things through the order they do things in that they don't mean to. Imagine having the call to worship at the very end of the service. On one hand, that could be very distracting, or it could be very unintentional. It's kind of like, well, shouldn't you have put that before we sang our worship songs? Now, on the other hand, maybe a church is kind of like, hey, let's do that because now we're going to think of going out into the week as worship. What we do outside of church is also an act of worship. Could work. But generally, you want to put the call to worship at the beginning of the service. That aside, be intentional with your liturgy just as you want to be intentional with your arrangements. Now, an arrangement is just the way that we play a song. And it's set up so that certain instruments, certain vocalists know how to play it. The larger your ensemble, the more intentional you need to be with your arrangement, the more an arrangement is needed. Because if you have an orchestra and a choir playing along with a band, you need to make sure everyone is on the same page at the same time, and there's only one conductor keeping everyone together. And so having a measure for measure arrangement that tells everyone when to play and what to sing, well, that becomes much more important and needed with that larger ensemble. Now, when you come down to a worship band, you might not need measure for measure because the individuals in your band might just get along together and they might be used to playing together. And so they kind of feel the ebb and the flow. And all you need to do is throw a chord chart up in front of them and they can just start playing and it sounds great. And that's great if you have the quality of musicians that are able to pull that off. The thing is, not every church has that. So one of the things that we can do is we can establish just a baseline arrangement, a really bare bones arrangement. It doesn't have to be measure for measure, but what we want to do is we want to be intentional with our sound. So here's the part for you. You have a small church. It's just you on the guitar and a pianist, or vice versa, or some other small form of arrangement. And you're like, what use is arranging? I don't have a big orchestra. I don't have a big band. It's just a small church. Me, there's a guitarist and a pianist. What use is arranging? It is so useful. It's the difference between, that was nice, and wow, what an inviting sound that really drew us in. So, where do we start? The first layer of arranging, and arranging is all about layers. The first layer of arranging is, do I play or do I not play? You can imagine it. You could say, hey, let's have piano on the intro, just piano. And then I'm going to do single strums on the first verse, and we're going to have this really open sound. And that brings us to a second layer. The second layer is asking the question, am I part of the atmosphere of a song or am I part of the rhythm of a song? In general, I get this from Bob Coughlin's worship piano book. So if you want to see some more on this, go and get that book. It's a fantastic method book for worship piano. And one of the things he talks about in there is that when you play whole notes or half notes, so just like one strum per accord, you're part of the atmosphere of a song. But as soon as you start doing something like quarter notes or eighth note rhythms, that is when you become part of the rhythm of a song. So that's level 2, asking yourself, am I part of the atmosphere or am I part of the rhythm? So maybe the intro of the song, you want to be part of the rhythm, driving this rhythm, getting people clapping. And then when verse 1 comes, you pull back and you become part of the atmosphere and let the verse just flow. And then when the chorus comes, you switch back to being part of the rhythm. Already, I hope you're seeing that this creates a whole other dynamic other than just, oh, I use the same strum pattern from the beginning of a song to the end of a song. Okay, layer 3. Layer 1, we've established, are we playing, are we not playing? Layer 2, am I part of the atmosphere, am I part of the rhythm? Layer 3 is going to be your dynamics. How hard or soft are you playing at a certain part of a song? Because you could go in and be part of the rhythm of a song, but if you're playing lightly, it might be just like this neat little underneath rhythm that lets the lyrics shine through. Or you want the big rhythm when it comes to the chorus, and so you're going to be going with a strong dynamic, a more forte dynamic, if you want to use the music term for it. So vary as you're going through a song how you play the different sections with the dynamics, how loud or soft you're playing. So combine loud and soft, atmosphere and rhythm, and you're already creating something that's a lot more interesting than just wall of sound. And that's what we want to avoid. We want to avoid a wall of sound that keeps people out. Instead, we want a layered sound, a textured sound that draws people in. That's what we really want. So, thinking about those, you already got so much that you can do with just a piano and a guitar. And honestly, if you took away one of the instruments, you could still do everything with just one instrument. You could still be thinking my rhythm or atmosphere. Am I loud or soft? Am I driving or reflective? All these things can play in. And what you might want to do, here's your practical takeaway. Take your chord chart that you have for Sunday morning worship and set it on your stand. And as you're playing, make notes about what your goal of that section is. Make notes about what dynamic you want. So maybe for the intro, you say, I want this intro to be driving. And so you write driving next to the intro. And then for verse 1, you say, I want verse 1 to be reflective. And so you write reflective next to verse 1. And then for the chorus, I want chorus 1 to be open. And maybe you do a little bit of a build leading up to it, so it feels like you're going to be going into the chorus and all of its strength. But then when the chorus actually hits, it's open and reflective. For an example of that, you can listen to our song Forever and Always the Same. First chorus, we build up to it, but then we drop out to add a little bit of contrast. So maybe you're doing that. And then verse 2, you want it to be reflective, but building. And then for chorus 2, you're like all in, big band, let's go, full rhythm. Right there, if you do that, and if you manage to communicate that with your instrument, it's going to create a whole different dynamic than if you were just playing the same chords with the same rhythms at the same dynamic. Start there, do that, and you've created your own arrangement of a song. Now, like I said before, the more used to this you get and the more your bandmates get used to this, you don't have to be as explicit or as direct when you're writing it down because everyone just starts to jive together. Everyone starts to just know what the general feel should be. But when you're just starting out, go ahead and write it down so that you can be intentional about your arrangement. And that is the key. Be intentional with your arrangements. Intentionality is really the thing that's going to set it apart from everything else. So I hope you enjoy this. This is your quick songwriter tips and tricks. It turned out it was 14 minutes, so it's not that quick. I'll probably chop it up and have it be, I'll chop it up into shorter bite-sized parts, see what hooks are in there and all that. But if you enjoyed this more casual style where I'm just kind of talking off the top of my head and I leave in the air conditioner turning on, let me know in the comments below. Or if you want to hear more scripted content, let me know that too. If there's any songwriter tips or tricks that you want to hear, let me know that as well in the comments. And also, if you're still here and listening, thank you. Be sure to like and subscribe. And also, Loch and Cain just released the new single, Immortal, Invisible, God Only Wise. Go ahead, and it's streaming everywhere. It's here on YouTube. Go ahead and check it out. So this has been quick tips and tricks for songwriting and arranging. Thank you, and I hope you have a good day.